Flight bus, bitch, for sure. You're not listening to the Mind of an Terry's Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I really care how God do these motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, we're gonna talk about how signs play different roles in your life. Like, just because, for an example, now, before we get into this science, it's important to know that your houses is important. Because a lot of times, you may meet a sign that you feel like you could be in a relationship with, and they may not even be a sextile or trine to your sun sign. And then you wondering how you attract this person, and a lot of times it may deal with what your sun sign ruler and the planet that rules your sun sign. A lot of times it may depend on what sign that's in. You see what I'm saying? And on the flip side, it may depends on what sign you have in the 7th house, right? And what planet you have in the 7th house. Or a lot of times, and then another thing, it depends on your 7th house lord and what planet, and the 7th house lord and what house that's in. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of dynamics to kind of understand the structure and the character of what kind of person you're going to bring in your life. Now, this could go on all relationships right here. This is how you understand, like, because you may, for that statement I just said, for me to say that, a lot of times you may think like, well, this sign is always going to play this kind of role in my life when I meet this kind of sign, and this sign is always going to play this role in my life. And that's not always the case. Well, and it might not never be the case, because here, check this out. Now, here's when you have to know your house degrees. Now, your house degrees is going to be important. You see what I'm saying? Like, for an example, my house, my first house is 17 degrees Leo. So my 7th house is opposite. It's automatically going to be 17 degrees Aquarius. So here's what happens here. Now, based upon what I just said, the average person would think, okay, well, since my ascendant is Leo, all Aquariuses that come into my life may play out as someone I may have to, someone I may look at as to get into a relationship with, or this, that, and the third, or someone I may hate or be a complete opposite with. But see, that's not always the case, because if you know the specific degree of your houses, here's how every Aquarius that come into your life may play different roles, and it may confuse you. So you may, and this goes for any sign, not just how I explained it, this goes for any sign. You may run into a Pacific person, and then they one way, then you run into a person and you ask their sign, and then you automatically thinking, all right, this person is going to play this role. Then when they start showing you other actions that throw you off, you'd be like, what's going on? Here's why. Now, let's go back to my example. If I'm 17 degrees Leo, right, first house, and my 7th house is going to be 17 degrees Aquarius, then here's what happens. Here's why you can't think like that, right? Because each Aquarius that come into my life now, it depends on what actual degree of Aquarius they are. Because here's what happens. If I run into a group of Aquariuses that's under 17 degrees, then what happens here is their sun going to fall into my 6th house, not my 7th house. So the situation with these group of Aquariuses may not be on the basis of a friendship or relationship or business partnership or things of that nature. Then, and vice versa, the group of Aquariuses I meet that's 17 degrees and above, those are the Aquariuses that will fall into my 7th house. You see what I'm saying? So those ones will play out the role and the attributes of relationships or on all sorts, or how to relate to people, places, and things. So if a person do come up and then you meet a group in any sign that play the same role, you could be 17 or 10 degrees Libra first house, right? Now the 7th house is going to be Aries. So if the group of Aries that you meet that falls under 10 degrees, they're going to fall into your 6th house. So these are the Aries that may possibly become your enemies. These are the Aries that may possibly express your opposition to you. These may be the Aries that you work with or have something to work on with, or or have to do something with on a schedule, on a routine basis. Same thing with me. Like if Aquarius is my seventh house, 17 degrees, then all the Aquariuses in my life that's under 17 degrees gonna fall into the 6th house. So these ones may become opportunities to be enemies, or people I'm working on something with, constructing on something with, a business or something with, and things of that nature. Now, as far as relationships or relating to people, places, and things on a day-to-day basis, on a one-on-one level, those Aquarius is going to have to be 17 degrees and above. So now that I know this knowledge, I know not to just have a basic outlook for all Aquariuses that come into my life. Then there's a lot of factors that even go into their own personal life, because they may have a moon sign that affect another area in your life. But what you can actually see from a person a lot of times is their personality, and then the next thing is their sun, because that's what their actions, what they choose to show. Then the moon sign, it takes experience, because that comes second. The vibration, the vibe. So it takes to get to knowing a person before you know what's inside a person, who they really are. You see what I'm saying? So we get some more examples. Also, like when you want to talk about alignments and things, when you aligning with people, and a lot of attractions and things of that nature, and your signs and stuff like that. Like your sun, moon, and rising is your most prolific. So these is what people first see off of you. You see what I'm saying? Because the third is last, what they see off you is the inside, but that's what's motivating everything. So all the other planets is getting filtered through the ascendant, the moon, everything is getting filtered through the moon, ascendant, the sun. You see what I'm saying? So say you have a thought or an idea for Mercury. It goes through your moon first. So you get an emotional stance on it, and do you feel comfortable with expressing it? Boom. Then it becomes something that you're personally into. So it goes through your ascendant now. It becomes a personal thing, or it could become part of your personality. The things that you're personally into, as far as your moon, could ultimately become your personality. Things you're personally into. Then it becomes part of your actions and how you see things. That's when it gets filtered through your sun. You see what I'm saying? Say you have you start extracting from Venus. You got a love, appreciation, or value, or you're compromising with something, right? Whatever you're doing with that, right? It gets filtered through the moon. You get that emotional stance on it. Do you feel comfortable with it or not? Depending on your moon sign. Boom, it gets filtered through your ascendant, which is your personality, your aura now. And then boom, when you start acting on these things, or you start to see things in certain ways, and these are part of your visions, boom, it gets filtered through your sun sign. So your first filters that people automatically gonna see from you is always gonna be off your sun, moon, and rising. So these are your first 3 signs. So any planetary alignment you got, it doesn't matter, because squares is your learning process. Conjunctions is your power. Sextiles is your opportunities. Trines is your gifts. Oppositions is your ops. Something you have to compromise with. It could be a give and receive match or a tug of war match. All these could be good or bad. I know they say the sextiles and trines is good, and oppositions and the squares is bad, and the conjunctions play in between, but really they all can be good or bad, because depending on the planetary alignments that's aligning with each other, that determines it. And based upon a description, you could tell if something's going to be good or bad, or neutral, whether it's a sextile or not. That's just like people who have Sun conjunct Pluto. You know what I'm saying? These people, actions and the way they see things may be very dark and manipulative and controlling. You know what I'm saying? So it's still a conjunction. It's still your power, but that's a bad power. You don't want to go around manipulating everybody. Well, maybe you do. You know? But at the same time, pay very close attention to any alignment you have with your sun, moon, and ascendant, because that's going to be what the people see from you first. Like me, my sun squares Neptune, Uranus, and Saturn. You see what I'm saying? So the first energies people see off me, and the first energies I already got access to, is uniqueness and originality, practicality, and stability, right? And all right, let me break this down. All right, so look, now my sun square. Now, it doesn't matter what angle it is, right? This is the power you're going to show. But depending on the actual angle, that's going to be what's actually being shown. You see what I'm saying? So what is shown off me is Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So what's shown through my actions and how I see things and my visions and the way I act based upon my sun is Neptune, dreams, illusions, creativity, imagination, right? Boom. Uranus, rebellion, opposition, and change, but also uniqueness and originality, right? And then what else I said my sun is squaring? And Saturn, stability in one's life and where one's going to receive, place, boundaries and restrictions and limits, right? Now, that's what people see from my actions. Now, since it's a square, this is how people see that from my actions. People see that instead my dreams, illusions, creativity, and imagination and fantasy realm, a lot of times I may be it may appear that I'm into an illusion that I need to learn how to get out of. That's what my actions square Neptune. Boom, Uranus. The way I act in my actions, a lot of times it may appear like it's too rebellious, too opposing, too changing, right? Or but just to be unique and original for the sake of it. Not to be relatable, but just for the sake of it. I need to learn how to make it be relatable. Boom. And then get to Saturn, right? My actions, the way I act and how I see things may seem unstable, unpractical, and it look like I'm not placing boundaries and restrictions and limits on the things I need to in my life, and the things I don't need, I need to place boundaries and restrictions and limits on those. So you see what I'm saying? So boom, that's what people are going to see off my actions. As far as people who know me and people see my actions and things of that nature. So you could do that with yourself in your chart, just like or if you have the moon. Say you have the moon trine. Now let's go to trine. Let's say you have the moon trine Mars, Venus, and Mercury. Say you have the moon trine Venus, Mars, and Mercury. Now what people are going to see from you off the bat is your Mercury. People see you know how to effectively communicate about your emotional stance on things, how you feel. You know how to communicate your reactions well. You see what I'm saying? You got that gift. Well, before we get to that, you know how to you got a person who's communicating about their emotional feelings, right? Now, if it was a square opposition, you may do it in a bad way, but let's just get to that. Now, let's say you have the moon trine Mars. Now you're a person who seem like they got an aggressive expression, aggressive high tense emotions, but passionate intent with passionate intentions, and have desires for others' emotions or their own emotional stance on things and how they feel. And these people are goal orientated, right? This is what people see from you. You have very I don't want to keep saying aggressive, but very desired and passionate emotions for things. Then when you get to what was the other one I said? I said Mercury, Mars, and then moon trine Venus. People are going to see you are emotionally compromised, emotionally loving, concerned, and relatable with your emotions and your feelings and things of that nature. Now, how people see that, right, is the trine. So now it's like this is a gift. So now your emotional, you know how to effectively emotionally communicate well, because it's a trine. You have that gift to communicating your emotional stance on things well, and you may be good with words. Then you have the moon trine Mars. Now, since it's a trine, how your emotions show aggression and intent and passion and desire, you have that gift for showing it in a good way, and showing it in a way that's proceeded towards your goals. You have the gift of being emotionally content and passionate towards your own goals and your own passions and desires and will powers, right? And then when you have the moon trine, I keep forgetting what the fuck last one I said. I said Mercury, and then Venus, yeah. Then Mars trine Venus. You have that gift. The moon trine Venus. You have that gift with emotionally expressing your love to others, emotionally expressing your appreciation, your value for others. You see what I'm saying? So you're like a very kind and loving person if it's a trine. So it goes to different dynamics. You know what I'm saying? If it was a square opposition, you may use your emotional stance to get. You may have that gift to use your emotional stance or who you are to get pleasure from people or to manipulate love from others and things of that nature. If it was moon square or opposing Venus. So, it's just different things. But these are things. It doesn't matter what's the angle. this is what people see from you. This is what the energy you're going to be circulating in. You know what I'm saying? If you have the ascendant, if you have the Mars conjunct the ascendant, or Saturn square, or Saturn opposed, any planetary angle that's aligning with your sun, moon, or ascendant, that's the energy people first carry up. That's the energy people pick up off you. But how you do the energy is the actual angle itself, whether it's a trine, conjunction, square, or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So that's just a little quick one real quick. You know what I'm saying? After the motherfucking air. Flight boss, bitch, I'm high.